What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be breaking down my automated greeting system that I originally had set up for Twitch using first words triggers on StreamerBot. We now have it set up and compatible with Kick and YouTube as well, not only just Twitch. So for those of you that have been requesting for this to be cross-platform, here we are on StreamerBot version 1.0. Basically, the way the system works is it creates a filter on the first words trigger. So whenever somebody chats for the first time in a stream session, it is going to greet them with a sound and a message based on who they are in whatever category it may be, whether they're a moderator, a VIP, a subscriber, or just somebody just generally chatting for the first time in the stream. It is utilizing the first words triggers so that whenever they speak for the first time on either Kick, YouTube, or Twitch, it'll prompt in the chat so that people on that platform see it. It can also be set up as an automated shoutout system. For those of you that were using the previous version, it now supports shoutouts on Kick and Twitch. We are currently undergoing research on how to do YouTube. If any of you guys have any intel that can help develop it, please do visit the Discord link down in the description so that we can put our heads together and figure out how to build it. This is not going to be an actual step-by-step building guide. It is going to be more of a step-by-step how to use the system and how to customize it to work for yourself. For those of you that haven't already downloaded the import code, go check out the description. There will be a link to my website for the import code. Get that imported. If you don't know how to import, there is also a link to the page that shows you how to import codes. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it and figure out how we have this set up. To start off, you want to make sure that your StreamerBot is up to date and is on version 1.0.1 or further. With StreamerBot's new update of version 1.0, there's a lot of differences, especially for those of you that are using the previous version before 1.0 came out when the StreamerBot was not in dark mode. First thing you'll notice, obviously, is that our application here is in dark mode. So if you're not in dark mode, this video will not work for you until you update it. If you need instructions on how to update or upgrade your StreamerBot, check out the link in the description that shows you a step-by-step on how to update or upgrade. Now that you've confirmed that your StreamerBot is up to date, you want to start with going down to your settings. The far left panel, all the way down at the bottom. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to establish groups. And this is where we're going to set up our two important groups. You don't have to use these, but it is recommended if you want to use the system in its default setup. So right here, you'll notice in settings, groups. Down here, you shouldn't have anything here, but if you do, that means you already built some groups and you're probably already familiar with the screen. But what we want to do is we want to set up an ignored group and legends group. So you'll see add group down here with a little prompt underneath. You want to spell legends with a capital L all the way through, plural, as well as ignored with a capital I. So once you type in legends, you would just click add. Because I already have that group, it's not going to allow me to add it. When I click on legends, there's a bunch of users in here that are listed. These are specialty users that go an extra mile to help support the channel. And then I have ignored here is just accounts that I don't want to prompt the sounds or be greeted, which is mostly just bots and myself. So keep in mind when adding new users to the group that these users do have to interact in your chat at some point in time for you to actually manually add them. If they have not interacted with any of your channels, they will not pop up when you go to add the legends here. So for example, if I search Mellow Vibes right here, he has interacted in my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel. He has not interacted in my Kick channel, so he does not populate here. So if you do not see a user pop up here, it just means that they have not interacted in your chat. These are some users that have interacted in my chat at some point. I can go down, the list goes on forever. This is all users that have interacted in my chat since I've set up StreamerBot. So because I haven't really streamed on Kick or YouTube, you'll see that the list here is very small for those. So you have some Kick users here, you have a bunch of Twitch, and then down here is also my YouTube. These are all the users that have interacted, so I can manually add them to the list. If they haven't interacted yet, unfortunately, you cannot add them to the list yet. So if you're trying to add bots to your ignored users, if they have not already interacted or chatted in your channel yet, most likely you will not be able to add them to this list just yet. Once you get them to interact in your channel while StreamerBot is running, it should automatically add them into the list where you can manually add them to your groups. Once you have your groups established, we can go ahead and go over to our actions and queues. In the actions tab, you're going to want to search first words if you have a lot of actions. If not, it should be right there in the front in the actions tab. Now you'll notice the naming scheme is set up as first words cross-platform. That's just how I got it. If you want to go in and change that, you just double click right here. And this is where you would set up the naming scheme, the group, and the queues. Now the queues is an important thing. If you guys don't already have a queue set up, we're going to go ahead and show you how to do that. This queue is actually very important if you don't want your sounds to all play at once. So let's just say that 3 people chat at the same exact time and you have a sound to greet each and every one of them. If you don't have a queue set up, it will just play all of those sounds all at once and it won't do it one at a time. With a queue, you can actually set up a blocking queue that allows them to play one by one, so that if you have like a moderator, a VIP, and a subscriber all chat at once, that all their sounds don't play simultaneously, that they'll play one at a time based on the first person that chatted. So let's go ahead and show you how to set up a queue. And right underneath the actions tab here that you're on already, you're gonna go down to queues. It's very easy to create a new queue. You just right click add, and here you can name it whatever you want. I personally have mine set up as sounds. I recommend doing that if you're gonna have like a lot of different sounds in your stream, if you don't want them to play stacked. If you want them to play one by one and play out, this is the way you do it. So name it sounds or whatever you prefer, and then make sure you click this blocking tab right here and turn it on. You'll notice it went from gray to purple. This purple is going to indicate that it's on, and blocking means basically when an action happens, the next action that's supposed to happen will not happen until the first one is completely processed and finalized. Once you do that, you press OK and create it. Because I already have mine right here, you'll see it says sounds right here. If you have one already created that you don't know if it has blocking, you can right click on it and you can go to edit. And you'll see my sounds is set up as a blocking queue. So anything that is in this queue is going to play one at a time in the actions. Now let's go ahead and head back over to the actions. And let's check out how we have this set up. So you guys see how we built the action at the beginning. That is a very easy part. Now, once you go over to the right, you'll see triggers. Triggers is going to be the first words that we're talking about. If you go into the search bar right here and you type in first words, you'll notice that 4 different prompts pop up. You have Kick, Trovo, Twitch, and YouTube. We currently have it set up for Twitch. If you notice that the white font is there, and you'll have YouTube and Kick that are in the red font. There is not a Trovo here. I personally have no experience with Trovo, so I haven't added that in there. But if any of you guys have experience and would like to incorporate it, feel free to just kind of follow the YouTube, Kick, and Twitch prompts and see if you can set it up. And if not, come reach out to me and maybe we can put our heads together and figure it out. But as of right now, we have it enabled for Twitch, and then we have the side of YouTube and Kick for those of you that need that as well. And the easiest way to find it is just search first words here. And this will show you the directory. So you'll see Kick, chat, first words. The reason it has these little arrows is if you right click here and go to add, if you go to Kick, chat, first words, same thing applies for YouTube and Twitch. So when you see me searching things in here, that will help you kind of find the directory if you want to manually enter them and build it yourself. Once you have your triggers here, you'll notice that there's some disabled by default. If you want to enable them, all you have to do is right click and click the little enable, and you'll see it turns from red to white. I personally don't have YouTube or Kick set up, so I'm going to keep these disabled. It's the same way to disable as you enable. Just uncheck it and you'll see it turns red again. That's indication that it's disabled. It's still there, but it's not going to function until you re-enable it. So once you have your trigger set up, now we just have to go over and look at the sub actions. The sub actions can get a little tricky, but we're going to break them down so that you can understand them better. So the first one is very easy. It's the ignored users. So anybody that is an ignored user in that group that you saw earlier that we set up is going to be ignored. And the way we have it set up is an if statement. So if you double click on this, you'll notice that the input prompt is %userGroups%. That is the variable that StreamerBot uses to identify users when they do their first words trigger. It will scan their user groups and it'll check to see what group they're in. If their groups list contains the ignored group, it will not prompt anything further and go to see the true result and false result. If they are in the ignored, the true result will play out, which you'll see it says break. And that basically tells StreamerBot to not continue any further. Now, if they are not in the user group of ignored, it'll continue because the false result is empty. There's nothing there. And that will go on to the next step of special users. Now, special users, we have two different ones that I want to go over specifically, but I will show you the moderator and the legends one. And you can apply the moderator one to the VIP and subscribers. And the legend one you can do is a template if you want to build off on your own and create factions and other cool things. So starting with moderator, you'll see if you double click it, the input variable is moderator equals true. So if they are a moderator, it's going to play out everything in the true result here. So if we continue opening this, and you'll see the next step is going to be mod platform messages. This one's going to be a little tricky just because we normally have this set up just for Twitch, but because we had some other users on other platforms, we decided to incorporate them and tried to make it so it can send a message to all channels depending on how many channels they have enabled up here in the triggers. So when you collapse this, you'll notice a couple lines here. The first one is the most important one because this is the mod cross-platform message. What that implies is that this message is going to get put across all the platforms. So if the person is on YouTube, then it'll play this message out, Kick this message, and then Twitch this message. This is the universal thing, so you don't have to go in and change each and every one of them. If you want that same greeting for all your mods across all platforms to be the same, all you have to do is double click here, and you'll see that there's a variable here called mod message. Basically what's going to happen is this value right here, this is my message that I want to be said in my chat whenever a mod speaks. So this variable, mod message, is now going to contain this message here. So if I do %mod message in any of the chat prompts, it's going to project this message here. Now to give you an example, we're going to go down to the Twitch one. We're going to collapse the Twitch one, and you'll see if the user type equals Twitch. So double click here and you'll see that their user type is going to be scanned. It'll check to see if it's on YouTube, Kick, or Twitch. If it happens to be on Twitch, the true result's going to play out a Twitch message. This Twitch message, you'll notice the only thing that's in this message prompt is the %mod message. And the reason is because we want that message to be equal to the value of what we stored it as. So it's going to say, shh, everybody behave, %user % has entered the chat. So that's what I want it to be set up for the mod alert. If you want that message to be a shout out, for those of you that have shout out systems set up and you're trying to convert to the new system, you simply would just copy this. If we want to shout out all of our mods, so Control C, press OK, and in the Twitch message here, you can delete this mod message or you can keep it. And what you can do is you can add the URL right there, and it'll put it right at the end of the mod message that we have created. Or you can delete this and put your own personal prompt there. And what it's going to do is it's going to put a Twitch link here, but it's going to put their username at the end. It pretty much auto generates a link to that specific user. We don't want to use the auto shoutouts here because I have a whole separate thing for that we may create a video down the road if you guys are interested. And we're going to leave it as is. But again, if you want to change the individual platform messages, you just go within that platform. So just like Kick and Twitch, you have a little shout out template if you want to create your own shout outs for specific users, and you just go in here and add it to the end of this message or create your own. Now, this is just for the platform messages for any of the platforms that are supported by the system in its current time. For the next section, you're going to see target mod walk-on events. These walk-on events are going to be for people that are moderators, but specific moderators that you want to have a special event that happens, whether it's playing a sound, a special type of message, or just some sort of action that happens on your stream layout. For me, I like to have specific sounds so that without even looking at the chat, I can identify who's hopping in the chat for certain users. So for me, I have one particular mod that has a specific sound being Chibi-Saurus. I built that using the template that I provided here. If you want to set up your own for somebody specifically, you can right click and you can duplicate the sub action. When you do that, it creates a whole new instance and it should go right below. If not, it might put it towards the bottom. Just keep an eye out for that. You can also right click and copy and paste the sub action wherever you want as well. And then you would just go into the template, and in this value section, you would type out their username, all lowercase, and then it should set up to play a sound for them. Now, you have to make sure you find the sound. So you'll see right now it says not found. That's because this template is tied to a non-existing file for you guys to go and find that. So if you double click on this, you'll see the sound file to play, and it says click here to add sound from folder. You click on this little browser piece, and you would go and find the sound or MP3 file that you want to assign to that person. That is how we have Chibi set up. So if we go to Chibi's, go to the true result, and we double click on this, you'll see that there's a file directory here that goes straight to a meow meow sound. If I go in here, this is all the special users I have, but they're in different categories. They're not mods, but they still do have a walk-on sound, and we'll get to why you don't see them listed here. That is how you would set up a walk-on event for a specific user. And the same thing would apply if you want to add anything else special. So in this little true result, if you want a special message to pop up, you know, if you wanted to shout them out a different way, you can do all of that. You can put any actions in there. If you want something to pop up on your screen, you can make that happen here within this little sub action. And it'll be all specific to that one user. If that username is Chibi-Sars, it's going to play this sound. But Chibi-Sars has to be a mod in my channel because that's why we have it in the moderator section. I'll go further into that as we explain the other sections as well, so you can better understand what I mean by that. So it'll play her sound and it'll break. Now, if it's not Chibi-Sars or any of the other specified users that I would have here, we have a general mod sound. The reason I have it labeled as general is so that anybody that's not specified in this target walk-on events group, it'll play a sound so that at least I know it's a moderator that's hopping into the chat. No specific moderator, but just any general moderator that's not already here. And that'll also give you an idea of why we have a break in the true result for Chibi. So we don't play two different sounds. It's just going to play her sound and then it's going to break the action. If it's not her, it's going to play the mod sound and then it'll break the action. Once you understand the moderator section, you can basically take all that information and you can apply that to all the other sections. There is one that you want to keep in mind that it's a little bit different, and we're going to get down to that, but I'm going to review the VIP one so you can understand how it correlates with the moderator one. Let's condense all this stuff. Now let's move down to the VIP section. So if you double click on this, you'll see % is VIP, which is the value stored if they're a VIP in Twitch, I think Kick, and I don't think you can have VIPs in YouTube, but again, this is per the platform that has that. If they don't have that value stored on it, it's just going to ignore it and continue forward. This one is also set up as equals and true. So if they're a VIP, then the true result is going to be the same thing with the platform message. You'll notice the only thing that's different is the actual variable that we use to store it and the message that we have projected there. It says VIP alert rather than mod alert, and then it has a little fun message that says roll out the red carpet for the user they have entered the chat. If you go to Twitch, for example, you have the true result, and the Twitch message is just % VIP message. If you want the VIPs to be shout out, the template URL is also here. So if you double click on the comment, you can actually just copy this link. So Control C, go to your Twitch message, and if you want your Twitch VIPs to be shouted out, you can simply add that URL to the end of this message, and it'll add their link at the end of the message when they're getting their first words reading, and carry on to the next steps. So if you want to change all of them at once, you change it here. If you want to extend it to shout outs or anything else, you can add to each and individual platforms. So we're not going to dive deep into that, but you'll see that VIP has the platform message. It also has the walk-on events, and I have a lot of VIPs that have specific events. So we have Chaos, Chipmunk, Cutthroat, Funkified. Any of these users, any of these VIPs that talk for the first time have their own specified sound. Just like I was talking about in the mod one with Chibi-Sars, these users also have their own specified sounds. But there are some other VIPs that don't have sound set up. They haven't set theirs up yet. So they do have a general sound, which is a general VIP sound, just like we were talking about for moderator. So you can see kind of how the VIP and the moderator work together. They're just different variables that are stored in the user to help filter out who they are. Now, the one that's a little bit different, and it's only for the first line, is the userGroups one, where you see userGroups contains legend. So if you double click on this, it's just like when we were filtering out the ignored users. This is for our legends users. So it says userGroups contains legend. Now, if users are in multiple groups, that's why we have the word contains there, so that it can scan to see if any of their groups contains that particular label. And those are the groups that we set up earlier in this video. So if you press OK, you'll notice that the true result is built exactly like we had with the VIPs and the moderators. You have your platform message here where you can change it. And again, the legend message is the variable. And then the legend alert message that I have here written is the value. You can go in and change these values because this is where you can customize it yourself. We're going to leave ours alone. You can go into Twitch or Kick or YouTube. I always go to Twitch because that's the one that I personally stream on, so it's what I'm more fluent with. So we go to the true result and see the Twitch message here. It has %legend message, just like we had in the %VIP message, the %mod message. It's carrying on. You'll notice this pattern, right? Again, if you want to incorporate an automated shoutout system for your legends, then you would go right here, copy this URL, Control-C, press OK, double click, and you can add it right here on the tail end, or you can create your own message like I said before. Also keep in mind setting up a bot account. If you don't have a bot account, you want to turn this off. Press OK and boom. So once you have your legend platform message, now we have the target legend walk-on events. So just like moderators and VIPs, you can have your own target legends. And here I also have the template built for you guys. If you want to duplicate it, you can. I have Tony Pizza and Unger Gaming. They're two legends that are not VIPs, not moderators, but they're people that I have assigned special sounds. So whenever they chat for the first time, it's going to play their particular sound. And if it's not Tony or Unger, but they are still a legend, they're going to get their general legend sound. And then last but not least is we have the subscribers. The same thing works here. If you go to the true result, you have your platform messages, you have your walk-on events, and then you have your general events. If you want specific subscribers to have their own walk-on events, just keep in mind, if they're not subscribed, this is not going to categorize them as a subscriber anymore, so it will no longer find them in this particular if else. It'll apply them to general or whatever other category they may be in. Now that's how all the special users are set up. We have set up the general users very similarly, but there's one little difference that we added just to make it a little bit more fun. So if you go down to general users, you'll notice that I put a group here that looks like an if else, but when you click on it, it drops down into a grouping. This grouping is set up so it'll play a sound. So if these people are not ignored, they're not moderators, they're not VIPs, they're not in the legends group, they're not subscribed, this is going to be what plays out for them. That's what a general user is considered. Just like we have a general subscriber or general moderator. This is just a general user. Now, the one difference is it's a really cool thing called a random line that you can pull from a text file. So if we double click on this, it's just like adding a sound, but we're adding a text document. So if you click here and find a text document, which mine is greetings. So we're going to go ahead and select this text document and we're going to press OK. If you don't know how to set up a text document, you simply go into your file explorer, go to wherever you want to store it, right click, go down to new, text document, and then name it whatever you want. Now we're going to go and open that text document to explain what it's going to be able to do. So you'll notice in my greetings text document, it has some lines here with different greetings on it, from howdy, what's up, welcome in, but you will have an empty one like this. What you want to do is you want to type out your greetings, and after each line, just press enter. Don't leave any blank lines there because that's considered a line, so it could pull a blank line. What StreamerBot's going to do is it's going to go in this document and it's going to pull one of these random lines. If you have them all on one shared line, it's going to pull all of them at once. You want to make sure that they're separate on different indexes. Once you have that set up, you want to file save, and now StreamerBot will go to that text document that you selected and it will pull a random line, and it's going to store it as a variable. And we're going to go down to the general greeting output. You'll notice this looks a little familiar from the previous platform messages that we saw on the other users. So now we have a general message, or gen message is what we have the variable set up as. So we created a variable name called genMessage. And then in the value, you'll notice that there's not just a prompt here. It also has a variable here that says %randomLine %@user exclamation point emoji. So this is going to pull that random greeting here in this variable. It's going to tag the user, and then it's going to close out with an exclamation point and an emoji. And it's going to store it into that variable, and then it'll put it on whatever platform they get scanned as. And again, the same thing applies here. If you want to shout out every user, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you want to, you can do that. I didn't put the shout out templates in here, but you can go back and find it in other places. But what it's doing is it's just doing genMessage and just greeting them with a random line, and then putting a little waving emoji to just give them a little heartfelt message. Press OK. And that pretty much covers everything to do with this foundation template that I've created for you guys. Again, this can go further and expand more. If you guys want to build on it and let me know what you add to it, I would love to see what you guys come up with. Reach out on Discord. That is the best way to get in touch with me and the community, and hope you guys have fun with it. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And if you found this video helpful, please do consider subscribing. Leave a comment letting me know. Reach out, tell the community how you came up with different things, how it helped you, and what maybe if you find any flaws in it. Please do let us know, and we can make sure to fine tune it, and maybe we can build off of it and build it even better, make it better for the next users. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.